Remember to turn on all notifications so you don't miss a video. Josuke is a character that I love, but what stands out about him is his lack of traditional development. He's a static character, which means that he's the same at the start and the end. On top of that, he barely has a backstory, and what we know of it only explains his hair. He also lacks a solid goal. He has a purpose, which is to protect people and serve justice, but standard anime discourse doesn't value that. You have to have a background, arc, and goal. Before, I used to agree with this, but not anymore. A character's personality, along with the choices they make, can show nuance and depth in a character. Additionally, how entertaining and likable a character's personality is plays an even bigger role in their quality, not just their depth or layers. The reason is that a good story is not one that just follows the rules, but one that also entertains. If a character checks the boxes like background, arc, and goal, but I do not enjoy watching them, then something is missing. On the flip side, if I'm enjoying every second of a character while they're on screen because of their personality, something must have been done right. With that said, I'll break down Josuke's primary and most unique character traits and some choices he makes. Josuke's main trait is his peacefulness. He is peaceful and doesn't like escalating situations. In chapter 1, he obeys the seniors that are bullying him until they insult his hair. After attacking them, he heals the turtle that the bullies injured despite having a fear of turtles. When he learns about the trouble his existence caused Joseph's marriage, he apologizes despite not being responsible. When Josuke sees the killer in chapter 3, he grieves with Koichi about leaving until his hair is insulted. When Okuyasu hurt Koichi in chapter 9, Josuke starts by telling him to let go. When talking doesn't work, he gets ready to fight him. In chapter 11, he tries to reason with Keicho, but when the latter pulls out the arrow, Josuke takes action. In 20, Josuke tells Tanami to remove his lock. When that doesn't work, he solves the situation without fighting. When Shigechi breaks his promise in chapter 72, Okuyasu wants to fight, but Josuke tells him to let it go and accept a small payment. After Shigechi betrays him again in 74, that's when he doesn't let it fly and tries to talk things out. After Okuyasu socks him, Josuke stops Okuyasu and then goes to check on Shigechi to make sure he's okay. Josuke also shows a lot of forgiveness and compassion. Josuke saves Okuyasu from his brother and even heals him despite him not snitching on his brother's stand. His answer in chapter 12 on why he saved him is, "I just thought there was no reason for you to die." In 17, after Keicho just tried to kill him, he helps Keicho's father and fixes their relationship. He even offers to help Keicho search for a stand user to heal him. This compassion isn't extended to serial killers. He didn't forgive Angelo because he killed his grandpa and tried to kill another kid during their fight. Josuke met Kira 2 times. The first time, in 98, Kira pretended to be innocent, but Josuke figured it out and Kira attacked. But the second time, in 161, as soon as he heard his name, he struck first with little hesitation. This is one of the only times where Josuke is the first to attack. It's likely due to the fact that Kira is a serial killer who also killed Shigechi, a friend of Josuke. There is one more moment of choice connected to his kindness that reveals something deep about his character. During his final fight with Kira in 163, Josuke had 2 objectives: defeat Kira and save Okuyasu. At the end of the chapter, Josuke got within range of Kira but prioritized saving Okuyasu. Even after Hayato says that Kira made Okuyasu a bomb, Josuke attempts to touch him in order to heal him again in 164. Josuke values both justice and helping people, but this scene shows which one holds more value to him. When given the choice of one or the other, he chooses saving a life. On top of that, he continues to carry Okuyasu around mid-battle, despite it putting him at a disadvantage. He only puts him down in 166 because he believes he's dead. True character is revealed in choices a human being makes under pressure. The greater the pressure, the deeper the revelation, the truer the choice to the character's essential nature. This is a quote from Robert McKee in Story, which I agree with. When under pressure, Josuke prioritized saving Okuyasu over stopping the serial killer Kira. His stand's healing power is symbolically represented in Josuke's primary values. He is a healer first. Josuke's second trait is that he goes berserk whenever his hair is talked about negatively. This reaction is explained in chapter 59. When Josuke was sick in the past and he and his mother were stuck in the snow, a man with a pompadour helped them free their car. Josuke's admiration for this man is why he dresses like him and styles his hair in the same way. Therefore, any insult to his hair is an insult to his role model. His role model showing a random act of kindness could also explain why he's normally so peaceful and willing to help others. As for his anger, in chapter 1, when the bullies insult his hair, he beats them up. He also mishears or misinterprets anything that comes close to an insult towards his hair. For example, when Chotaro called the discussion of his hair stupid, Josuke misinterpreted that as an insult to his hair and immediately used his stand on him. He calls it an instinctive reaction. After his grandpa dies, as he's waiting for Angelo, Josuke temporarily loses his cool in chapter 6 and destroys some furniture, but regains control. When Rohan insults his hair in chapter 59, he goes berserk again, but this time he was literally blind with rage. Josuke sometimes heals people after he harms them earlier in the story. In chapter 1, he healed the bully he punched. In chapter 2, he healed Jojo's hat after punching it. In chapter 3, he healed the criminal after punching a hole through him. He healed Tanami's broken tooth, but he didn't break the tooth. In 126, he heals Yuya before beating him up so that he won't feel guilty about beating up a bedridden man. He heals Toyohiro after beating him in 138. People that he doesn't heal after beating up are Hazamada, which he was indirectly responsible for, Keicho, Rohan, and Yuya. When he was finished with Rohan and Yuya, Rohan went on hiatus for a month, and Yuya remained in the hospital for months after Josuke healed and beat him up. This is probably a punishment for their actions. Rohan almost made Koichi and Okuyasu kill themselves, while Yuya almost killed Rohan. Josuke doesn't kill humans. Instead, he has a trend of using his powers to punish antagonists. He changed the shape of the bully's nose, he healed Jotaro's hat strangely, and he left the knife in the criminal's stomach. Josuke also had no problem torturing Angelo a little after capturing him in chapter 5. In chapter 7, he punishes Angelo by having him eternally atone as a statue. In chapter 144, he turned Terunosuke into a book. These last two are cruel punishments that are justified to Josuke because of how they harmed his friends and family. Angelo killed his grandpa and was a serial killer. Yuya captured his mom and Koichi and tried to kill him and Koichi. Josuke did kill 2 rats though. This is likely because they were threats that couldn't be reasoned with. Another trait of Josuke's is his cleverness and competency during battle. This is a trait that every single JoJo protagonist has as well. Josuke is often able to calmly assess a situation and make use of his powers in resourceful ways to create the best outcome. Early examples would be Josuke fighting the criminal in chapter 3, saving his mom from Aqua Necklace in chapter 4, and capturing Angelo in chapter 7. Some people say that Josuke is inconsistent because he stopped Tanami from scamming, but scammed Shigechi and Rohan. Let's look at that. In chapter 20, Tanami used his stand to hurt Koichi and steal money from him, so Josuke intervened. Now Shigechi. In chapter 71, when Shigechi starts a conversation with him and the money is brought up, Josuke says Shigechi's putting money back into the economy, calling it noble. When Shigechi offered him money, his initial reaction was happiness, but then he quickly told Shigechi not to hand out money. Shigechi tried to force it onto him, but Josuke was focused on teaching the kid a good lesson rather than his own gain. Only after Okuyasu talks to him does he come up with a plan. Rather than just accepting handouts, he decided that he'd work with Shigechi to gain more money and split that. Josuke teaches him about blue stamps, and Harvest gathers them. This is not scamming. The two are working together to collect money, and Josuke is only taking from the money that he contributed in collecting. In chapter 73, Josuke has no problem scamming the banker. The difference between this and Tanami is that no one's getting hurt. The ticket was outdated, so the original owner wouldn't have been able to make use of it, and the bank isn't getting hurt either. This is why Josuke is okay with it. When Shigechi betrays them again and Okuyasu steals the ticket in 74, Josuke lets him keep it and says they'll pay him his half. This is because this was the second time Shigechi broke his own promise. Shigechi joined them in business, but switched up once he got the money. He was let off the hook the first time, but only then. On top of that, Josuke and Okuyasu played a bigger role in securing this money. Josuke feels like he's exploiting Shigechi, but once Okuyasu explains how they were important and reminds him of the amount of money, he forgets about it. Another factor regarding Josuke's morality in Mischief is how broke he is. Desperate times call for desperate measures. This will come up again with Rohan. Now Rohan. Josuke dislikes Rohan. This is explicitly stated in 110 when he's waving at him. He acts polite, but he dislikes him. This is probably why he invited him to sit with the group earlier in 107. He was just being polite. Why Josuke hates Rohan is not so clear. It's probably because he insulted his hair in their fight. When looking at the characters who insulted Josuke's hair, the only one who appears again is Rohan. The bully, criminal, and Angelo never appear again. So it could be that Josuke was holding a grudge. Rohan redeems himself against Highway Star, but Josuke tries to scam him before then. So when you combine Josuke's dislike for Rohan with his $300 in chapter 116, it makes sense why he was willing to lower his morals against him. When he's low on money, he can get a little desperate, and the victim he chose was someone who was rich and he already didn't like. Additionally, this didn't hurt Rohan. At the end of the manga, Josuke steals Joseph's wallet. Once again, no one is hurt. So when it comes to Mischief, Josuke only scams people out of their money when it's not hurting anyone, and when he's desperate for cash. People loosening up their morals in desperate situations is a realistic occurrence and simply makes him more fleshed out. Josuke's handling of death is another point of analysis. In chapter 5, when his grandfather dies, he shows a little immaturity when he tries to deny his grandfather's death, but shows emotional maturity once he calmly accepts it. Though he doesn't cry, he vows to take on his grandpa's role to protect Morio. In chapter 6, he shows anger towards Angelo, which shows that he's not unaffected by his grandpa's death. At the start of the next chapter, he's happy that his grandpa's murderer came to him, implying that he wants to avenge him. In chapter 11, Josuke tries to choke an unconscious Okuyasu so he doesn't come after him. This is a little shady, but it doesn't cross any lines he's set. Additionally, he was doing it to ensure that he had the highest chance of saving Koichi. In 82, when Josuke learns of Shigechi's death, he handles it calmly and expresses that he doesn't know whether to feel angry or sad, but unlike with his grandpa's death, he doesn't freak out. In 164, when Josuke heals Okuyasu and he doesn't wake up, Josuke freaks out again, even more so than with his grandpa. In 165, despite Hayato saying so, he refused to believe that Okuyasu was dead. This more dramatic reaction at the end is probably due to the fact that Okuyasu was his best friend, who he saw die in front of him, unlike Grandpa or Hayato, and because he believed he healed him in time. Even though he's rattled by this, he was able to continue fighting Kira effectively, using the blood knife and then the rubble technique, and he fully calms down in 166, acknowledging his friend's death. Okuyasu returning in 170 is the only time I remember Josuke being moved to tears. Once again, it makes sense, because this is his best friend, who he thought had died. There are a few more minor traits. He's afraid of turtles in chapter 1. In chapter 4, he shows the amount of care he puts into his hair. He also combs his hair mid-battle in chapter 8. Finally, Josuke likes playing games, which is shown in chapter 4 and when Red Hot Chili Peppers attacks. In conclusion, Josuke is a well-written, layered, nuanced character despite barely having a background, having no arc, and having no goal. This is because of all the other character work. First, he has a distinguished and clear base personality. He's gentle and kind, but he will get hot-headed and furious if his hair is insulted. Second, he makes choices in the story that reveal the beliefs he has at his core, whether that be him being a symbolic healer or his sense of justice and punishment. Third, he has other sides to him apart from his main traits, like his mischievous side or how he deals with grief, which adds to the roundness of his character. And fourth, he's an entertaining character whose screen time is always a net positive for the story. Of course, this last one is more personal to me, but his cool moments in combat, combined with his personality and charisma, make his entertainment endless. He's like a combination of Jonathan's gentleness and Jotaro's anger. One thing that could have elevated him further, without any background arc or goal, is if he was put in more situations where he was forced to make difficult choices. He has moments that reveal his true nature through his choices, but more of them would have made him an unstoppable static character. Of course, this doesn't mean that background, arc, and goal don't matter. If he had an emotional background that explained his personality, an awesome arc, and a goal that he strives for and reaches, he'd be too powerful. One of my friends, Starface, said something similar to this once. If you'd enjoy seeing a character in a sitcom or simply interacting with others, that is proof of a good character. I agree. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, share, subscribe, and help me revolutionize the manga industry by buying my manga and spreading the word. All important links will be in the description.